Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside the ballpark to the Noved podcast, where we talk to many different creators and communities in the platform. I'm your host, and today we have an amazing musician who has been around the VRChat scene since the very early days when VRChat came out on Steam, and a little bit afterwards is when they first got their start. We have the amazing pianist, vocalist, musician, and DJ. We have Naku. Naku, welcome to the podcast. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's an honor to have you on. Well, first and foremost, for the people who may not know who you are, who exactly is I'm Naku?
So, I'm Naku, and I do, as you said, a lot of music stuff here in VRChat, and I've been around for quite a while. You did your research. Yeah, no, I first got the game when it came out on Steam, but then only really got into it shortly after, just as you said. But my main, what people know me for is my acoustic sessions that I run in public worlds, as well as my original music. So that's kind of what I do. I do like piano and vocals and take song requests, and then every now and then I get venue gigs and stuff like that in VR. So I'm just kind of generally a musician based in virtual reality, and it's such an amazing platform to do that on.
No, absolutely, and it's a very cool thing to do. You know, there's a lot of amazing talent when it comes to VRChat. But before we get into the VRChat side of things, I actually want to dig a little bit into your musical history. So one of the first questions I want to ask, so when was the first time you've ever picked up a microphone or an instrument, or maybe sang or played?
The first time, oh man. So if we're being literal with it, the very first time was probably when I had my first piano lesson, back when I was like 5, give or take, something like that. Totally following the Asian stereotype. Our parents made me and all my siblings take piano lessons, and we hated it, but I'm glad they did. But I think the first real time I felt like I was performing was in middle school, when I was in my school's band and stuff like that. I was in our drum line. I played the snare drum, the marching snare, and then my band teacher found out that I was playing the piano. So then we did this kind of unconventional thing where I played the marching xylophone, which was kind of cool, I think. I thought it was a little it was a little different. We had this harness that was made out of duct tape and metal pieces, and it was funny. but there are so many times where I don't know, my life has kind of always been music. But I can say for sure that one of the most, I guess, prominent times of my performing before VRChat and stuff, I was in high school, and we had this contemporary jazz band, and I was playing the drums there, the full drum set and stuff like that. And I thought it was really cool to go on play with a group of people and do it while traveling, because we went around to different elementary schools and stuff like that, and tried to inspire other kids in schools to take up music and stuff. So I think in high school that was the first time I was really man, performing for people is sick. This is something I want to do.
No, absolutely. As a fellow marching band person myself, when I was in high school, totally understand. So I was a marching
Nice.
saxophone myself. So it a lot different, of course, but I mean, it's the marching band was a time, right? It was definitely a time.
Yeah. Oh man.
So kind of to stay in that timeline a little bit, so who are some of your biggest musical influences growing up?
My brother, 100%, is one of my biggest influences. Just he started really early, actually making music his life and career. In high school, he really started focusing on it. He goes by DJ Joe. Most people probably know him. He does all anime remixes, Legend of Zelda remixes, and stuff like that. And I don't know, just being able to see that the amount of passion he put into it in high school, despite it still being a hobby and stuff. It was really cool to see the process of it all. Outside of that, Porter Robinson, obviously. He only really became a really like he only really inspired me. That's the wrong way to say it. When he released Nurture, that was when I was like, man, this guy is awesome. Like I loved Worlds and stuff, but Nurture really, really like stuck with me and hit me different. But yeah, Porter Robinson. I definitely have a lot of inspiration in my music from like 21 Pilots and Cave Town, stuff like that. I love a lot of artists, but John Bellion is someone who I listened to a lot when I was young, and then kind of like as he released his albums, kind of was following along. But the Beatles, my dad loved like the oldies and stuff like that, so you can hear a lot of inspiration from the Beatles. My favorite Beatles song is Blackbird. That song is so beautiful to play, especially. Yeah, I love it. But off the top of my head, I think that's like a lot of my inspiration. AJR, a lot of my lyricism, writing style can be a little adjacent to AJR with some of my songs. And a lot of the artists that influence me, I love to like learn their songs and play on stream as well and stuff like that.
No, for sure. I mean that's definitely a very like variety of influences to say the least. And all of them great artists and bands at the end of the day. Obviously a lot of people have different types of growing up and different types of history when it comes to music. So I'm always curious as to why what kind of got them inspired to do stuff. So that's really cool though, especially about your brother. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of to bank off of that a little bit. So what was the moment you realized that music was something that you wanted to pursue seriously?
It was definitely when I like started streaming, give or take. Not started. It was when the stream started picking up, I think. Because I always like in my head I was like, it's like not practical, it's not financially stable, it's like it's a lot of risk and reward, and if you don't make it, then it's like, oh, okay. But so playing it safe, I went into nursing, and I still do it to this day. It's a very fulfilling job. But I think I can't really pinpoint an exact moment, but definitely when I was starting out, and then people started coming up to me in VR specifically, and like were like, oh, I really like what you're doing, or it's like, man, I love this song, or hey, can you play this next? And then just like that reaction of people to like something that I'm just kind of like creating, I guess, was just like, wow, this is cool. Like I'm doing something that like someone has like a connection with. And it's like awesome. And so I think just like the way that I'm able to reach people with just my creative process, I guess, that is like something that's like really solidifies like, oh, I want to keep doing that. I want to keep feeling that feeling. I want to keep influencing someone to like, pick up music on their own or relate with them in a way through my music. And like a lot of my original music is like self-experience, and then it's like someone's like, oh, I went through the same thing. I'm just like, damn, we're not all that different. It's really cool to see how you can like listen to that song and then go through the same journey that I did and relate it to your own personal experiences. And just like, cool, I wanna keep doing this.
No, absolutely. Music is a very powerful thing. And I'm as a vocalist myself, with barbershop music and stuff, like I do get that on an emotional level. Which kind of actually, funny enough, it was going to be my next question. As a performer, you've obviously interacted with many people over the years. So one of the questions I wanted to ask, essentially, what is a moment that you remember or you can recall that you connected with somebody on an emotional level when it comes to your performances?
Like, oh, so like when, hold on, like when have I like I was on a performance, and then I was able to like
Emotionally,
I
like
guess
connect with a listener or attendee. You kind of briefly touched, like, you had people like, yeah, I can kind of relate to that. Was there ever like a particular moment that kind of hit close to home?
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think definitely. Okay, so like I released a couple songs about my mom, and a lot of like the songs are pretty. I feel like they're pretty like they're pretty easy to understand. Like the lyrics kind of like express how like something happened, and it's like, my mom's not around anymore and stuff like that. Um, but sometimes I see it's hard for me to pinpoint an exact point, but I see comments on like sometimes on like the videos, and like it's like people are like relating with it and saying like, my mom, I miss my mom too and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of a specific time where it was happening in person, because it's like it kind of there's so many times where I've ran into someone and they express the same thing. I think definitely recently I had someone at one of my sessions. I played my original song called "An Update to You," and that song is essentially about like I'm writing. It's kind of like a letter to my mom. It was a song about like updating like my mom where I am and stuff like that, and like it kind of leads to like I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm like really proud of myself. And the song kind of progresses, and it's like, actually, I know I'm doing the right thing. All these people tell me that, and I wish you can hear the things they say. And this person who's never been to an acoustic session before heard that original song, and they were like they took the time, like they were listening on stream, and they took the time to get onto VRChat, come over to tell me, and it was like, hey, I was listening, and that song really like hit me, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's my favorite original song. And so it was really cool to have someone like hear that and like really go out of the way to express that like they really enjoyed it.
No, that's totally fair, and a very wholesome moment to say the least.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, I guarantee there's probably many instances of something similar happening, especially with how many sessions you do. And there's a lot of musicians that can share that same thing, and it truly proves that, and I've said this on previous episodes with other musicians, music literally makes the world go round and connects us as human beings. Doesn't matter, not to be political or anything, but it doesn't matter what race, gender, religion, whatever. We come together as as humankind because of music, and I am a very firm believer of that. It doesn't matter where you come from or any of your history. It's a wild thing.
Yeah,
it's a very powerful thing.
I don't think that's like political at all. I don't think that should be political. That's just the human race.
It shouldn't be. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be. But I get it. The way of the world. It's a wild thing. Well, speaking of emotions, right? So kind of looking back again, what was like your biggest emotional hurdle, like when starting out?
Definitely, I think staying with the consistency. A lot of the times, well, not really nowadays, which I'm really grateful for, but in the past, sometimes I would host a session and there wouldn't be a whole lot of people, which is like totally okay. I would say like 70% of the music I do is for myself, but obviously, having the people there to actually. I just 6'7".
You did. That's the second time you've done that.
I did. Oh shit. Well, basically, like 60 or 70% of the time, I like to. Okay. But like one of the biggest emotional hurdles was definitely being consistent with it. Especially during starting out. Nowadays, I'm really like grateful to be able to be able to come online and then have a crowd already waiting for me to listen and stuff, and then having a staff to get the instances ready, to moderate it and stuff like that, and having a platform like VRChat to even help with engagement with like the group's fair, with like the social media posts for me and stuff like that, and with all that stuff. VRChat itself has been really amazing, helping just some internet niche celebrity, some internet creator, some content guy to do his music here. But thankfully, like all the support and stuff helps me to keep going and get past like the doubts of it. So like I said, just sticking with it was one of the hardest parts, because when it's slow, when it feels like you're like not really making any progress, or when it feels like people don't really want to listen to you, then it kind of really definitely like kills your motivation. And like you feel like, what's the point? Like why? I mean, like, yeah, I'll do it for myself. But like, if I'm doing it for myself, why do I need to go through all this effort to setting up a stream overlay, to like getting the instance ready, to setting up this schedule and time, to getting these song requests, to getting all these things done, if no one's really gonna be around to appreciate it? But sticking with it and like having that consistent schedule doesn't really relate to people wanting to listen to you or not. It's all really about just like people finding out about you, and people knowing when you're coming. And so when you have that consistency and that expectation of people do want to listen, it's just a matter of finding those people, then it becomes a lot easier to accept that like if a day isn't as you had like expected it to go in terms of like reach or who's coming, who's showing up, then it's like, I know there are people out there who will want to listen to this and show up, because it's been happening. So that helped me keep going as well. So to kind of reiterate, it's just having to have the willpower to just keep going. I know that so every now and then I run into like an old friend of mine, and like one of the main things they say is that they're really what's the word? My consistency, the fact that I'm still doing it, is very like, that's what they're like, wow, that's awesome. It's like, I wish like they say like, man, like being able to stick with your passion no matter what is like respectable, I guess. I don't remember the exact word they use, but
No,
definitely that's it.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, like it's very hard nowadays to be consistent, especially for a long time, right? I mean, before I finally was convinced by some of my peers to finally like take a step back and take a break, like I was doing, I mean, this podcast is a good example. I was doing weekly episodes, for over a year and a half. We went through roughly 85 episodes of back-to-back weeks, and that's including all the editing, all the recordings, like all the everything, which doesn't seem like a lot until you watch one of the videos and realize how much editing goes into it.
Yeah, it is a lot. No, it is.
And I mean, granted, I've been upping my game as I've been progressing, of course, too. But to keep the consistency, right, to stay on topic, this ain't about me. But to keep the consistency, it's very taxing. It can be very taxing. But yeah, I would say there's a lot of, we'll get into that topic later, because that's actually in another topic that I want to talk about. But before we go into that, kind of to go back into, kind of the beginnings. So obviously, before you even got in, I know not everybody knows this, but before you got into VRChat, you were also performing in other games too. I believe it was like Team Fortress and a few others, if I remember correctly. So I guess one of the biggest questions, what kind of made you want to like do music performances in games in general?
I think it was kind of an outlet to. I live in a really small town, and there's not a whole lot of a music scene here. And when I was in like nursing school and when I was working as a nurse, I still wanted to perform, and so definitely doing it in games was a way for me to kind of scratch that itch, I guess you could say. I mean, there were different like outlets and ways to do it, but I've always loved video games, and what better place to do something I love and something else that I love. I know some people ask if like there was like a specific like content creator that I enjoyed who did it as well, or if there was a certain thing that inspired me to do it in a specific game. But it was kind of just, I think it was kind of just random. I just like launched up a game and did it. But I will say, Gary's mod, and specifically Dark RP, kind of had a more of a better, I guess, way to go about it, because in that game, in that mod specifically, in that mod of a mod specifically, you have jobs in like a little city, and you make money, and that's the goal of the game, to make money, to make more money. And you can be a hobo, and you can also throw down a donation box. And then in Gary's mod, you can build things. So you kind of have like the tools to create like a little busking area in a video game. I would go on Dark RP. My favorite Dark RP server was Divinity Roleplay. It's long gone by now, but if someone out there is listening and knows Divinity Roleplay, you know what's up. One of the people actually from Divinity Roleplay did stop by my sessions, which was so funny. But I digress. In that server, I would set up in like a street corner, put my little donation box up, make a piano out of the Half-Life 2 props. A little bit clever, if I say so myself. And just kind of input on, and then just like start playing and stuff. And people would donate their virtual money into my box. People would put hits on me, and I would die mid-performance. It'd be funny. It's all the hobos would come over and like start like making a crowd, and it was funny. So specifically as to why I chose video games, I was already playing them a lot, and this one specifically for Gary's mod kind of had the tools to get something going there. So yeah.
No, fair. I mean, that definitely sounds like a lot of fun, to say the least. And of course, it was a different era of Gary's mod back then.
100%.
So it was a lot more. It was a lot more newer, a lot more popular. It's still popular to this day, though, like Gary's mod in general and stuff. Despite the game being older than a lot of probably people inside of VRChat, but, it's besides the point. It's besides the point. But yeah, no, I guess like, because obviously, every person starts out somewhere when it comes to games and stuff, playing games and getting into their, I don't want to call it niche, but I guess into their creative flow, when it comes to that. So I guess out of curiosity, what kind of led you to like Gary's mod and like, all these other games, like in general?
I think when I was really young, I think my sister got this really old game called Glover for like, I think it was on fucking Windows 98 or something. I don't know.
That's an old one. Oh gosh.
Yeah, Glover. I thought it was cool. Just like the guy on the ball, and it's just a hand rolling around. But I remember there were a lot of issues trying to install it. And that just like seeing the process of like, you get this little disc, and then you put it into this box, and then it shows these things. And it's like, after you put the work in, now you can do this thing with this thing. And it's like, this is pretty cool. One game that I actually really got into when I was young was The Sims. And like, it was an old pink box, like deluxe edition or something. And you can customize it. You can like mod it yourself, and I thought that was really cool. My brother and I, we were kids, so we did a lot of weird things there too. And like, you can like mod the like the shirts, and like we were like color them in like the skin color, like the naked. Oh my god. But I will say, the first time I really got into a game was Doom, like the old 95 Doom, when like obviously I wasn't around when it first came out, but I got into the game, like the modding scene of it. Those of you who know it, there was a modding community called Skulltag, which later became Xandronim. But Skulltag made use of like Z-Doom and GZ-Doom and all those things. And it focused on the multiplayer aspect of it, expanded upon like dedicated servers, hosting custom WADs and stuff like that. They called mods for Doom WADs back then. I actually don't know why. iWADs and PWADs. Anyways, Doom was definitely though one of the first games that I really like became a part of in terms of its community, because like you can make maps and share with the community and stuff like that. It's really cool. With most games in general always get their own version of Death Run, that sort of game mode. Yeah. Kind of proud of it. me and my brother are the curators of Doom Death Run. It became like the number one server for a little while and stuff, and like we like made custom maps, started taking community submissions for maps. It was really cool to have that sort of like that community response for something you create, which probably all ties into me loving that whole environment of of a person, of like not like the spotlight, but like making something and having people enjoy it. But Doom was definitely my first like game that I really got into. Tory Bash, I spent countless hours on that game. That was a physics simulation karate fighting game, which was very interesting. I loved the concept of it. It was basically you controlled this ragdoll, and you had it was almost like a turn-based game, but you had to control every single joint on the body.
Wow!
And so yeah, it was cool because like you had a little timer, and then you select what joints move. Like you're gonna contract the elbow, you're gonna contract your pelvis and stuff like that, and then turn your chest. And then like when the timer runs out, it does all those actions just for a few frames, and like you move forward, and then you do the next frame, and then at the end of the match, it plays the whole thing back, and it's like a little fight scene. So Tory Bash was a really interesting game that I got into as well, which also had a pretty bustling community because you can customize your skins, you can make custom textures on it and stuff, and then you can sell it on the Tory Bash marketplace, which was really cool. I think it was pretty advanced for its time. It's kind of like its own Steam marketplace before that was even a thing. But
way back.
yeah, way back then. But yeah, there just been a lot of games that I really got into. I think I kind of digressed from the question. What was it again?
No. I mean, it was like what got you into like gaming and stuff. So I mean, it's still relevant.
Okay, still relevant. Okay, cool. I guess I'll keep going down the pipeline. Of course, I went through my Roblox phase. I never really did Roblox mapping or modding for that. But I did. Oh, this is a relic. I did make a Roblox film with a couple of friends.
Interesting.
It was like a version of it was like an episode of MASH. The old like the military. Yeah, we did our own thing there. And you can find it on my old childhood channel. It was called Some Multimedia Guy.
Yo, I'm gonna need a clip like right here. I hope you realize that. Good luck.
Yeah. I forgot the name of the show, but there's one episode out there, and it's really bad. I don't even remember the plot. I think there was like an infection or something, and a zombie. I don't even remember. But you can check it out if you want. Some Multimedia Guy, and there's other relics in there. But definitely, I had my Roblox phase. I think one of my favorite games on there was Ultimate Build, was a really fun one. And then there was like a fishing game, a pirate fishing game, which is really well made. Anyways, outside of that, I know I got really into obviously Gary's Mod. I think I have 2,000 hours clocked on that game way back when. It was mainly Dark RP. I think I have 1,000 hours on that one Divinity RP server. I miss you. Oh my god! Speaking of games that I really loved, there was this one game that died because of the stupid company. Worlds Adrift. That game is like one game that still sticks with me to this day. It was so unique. It was basically a sandbox MMO physics-based survival craft, like player generated content. Oh my god, it had so much in it, but it was all still centrally focused. Well, to put it bluntly, before they released the game, they released the island creator, and then people just didn't really know what it was for, and you could make these really cool islands in the sky and stuff. And then when the game came out, they used all those player creations to populate the world and stuff like that. And it was like the steampunk-esque thing where you have a grappling hook and you travel along these islands. You build a ship to travel to better islands and find like lore and treasures and stuff like that. And it was multiplayer MMO, so anyone could like see your ship and then like fight you for your resources. And it really felt ahead of its time. Worlds Adrift is such an amazing game. And then the company decided that it wasn't making enough money for them. And instead of like open sourcing it, or instead of like having player support come in, they just closed servers. And then they later on released this PvE like co-op game with the same engine, and people didn't really like it, and it was like, oh, whatever. But oh my goodness, that game, it was so cool. It was amazing. Anyways, that was the Drift. Nowadays, League of Legends, as most people play. I got into that kind of early, but I love the gameplay loop, but not so much as of recent, because my my girlfriend Phoebe got me back into Overwatch. We just kind of played a game here and there, and then they updated it, and they're kind of reverting a lot of changes, and they're going back to Overwatch 1, and it's like that's when I kind of played it like a little bit, and so I've been really playing that a lot recently, and obviously VRChat, where we are. I love there's so much to do in this game, but I think that kind of summarizes my journey with video games, I think.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, you gave me a lot more than I was anticipating, so I will take it.
Oh man.
Well, kind of speaking about VRChat, so obviously you played all these games, you performed in all these games. So what kind of inspired you to come to VRChat in the first place?
It was kind of on a whim at first. I was always on the lookout for just like games I could play in. And VRChat came out on Steam, and I was like, install it, see what it's all about. And so I was in desktop, and I remember going to the old hub world with the campfire and like the dark, like almost like brick aesthetic. There was like a room that you had to travel to. It had a big mirror on it. There was like portals and like a half circle arch and stuff like that. Very old hub world. And I remember going there and sitting by the campfire and having this girl listen to me play my ukulele. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I didn't really think much of it. And then I just kind of stopped playing. I did eventually go back to it. I'm not sure why, but I did launch it up again, and I started to actually try to explore other worlds. I remember finding that open mic night world with like, the entrance room and the big long hallway and the stage and the back room and stuff like that. Still around to this day. Every now and then people host things there, which is still cool. Gaia Night, I remember playing there a lot. It was really nice. I would travel past those poorly formed polygon hills, and then like go in the back and play, or play by the campfire in the tent. I think when I started playing in that open mic night world and finding more like seeing more like comfy campfire worlds come out, I think that was when I really like started like coming on more, getting addicted to that like feeling of people like coming in and like gathering around. But I will say, when I first started out, I was like the complete opposite I am today. I like got so nervous when someone would show up. Like I would stop playing and mute and wait for them to leave and then start playing again. I would just go in the corner of a world and just like do it on my own. It took a lot for me to get myself out there in this game for some reason, despite me doing it like a little bit in real life. I guess it felt different, but yeah, no. I would say like mid 2018 is when I really started to like come on here a lot more consistently on desktop. And then seeing people in like VR and stuff, I was like, that's sick. How do you do that? Whoa, your feet are moving? It's like, what? And there was like maybe like a handful of people with full body, and it was such a finicky setup, and it was just really cool to see. That eventually led me to getting VR, and then the rest is history from there and stuff. But yeah, no. The reason why I really stuck with VRChat was, I think, just the ease of connection, I guess. How easy it was to go into go into a place and just have people join you that you don't even know, and then just interact with you. With other games, there's a clear goal that's not focused on that. With other games, there's like, Dark RP, you make money to do what you want. So there's always like a, not motive, but there's always an incentive to do like the goal, or like TF2 or something like that. That's always something else going on. But with VRChat, the game is what you make it, There's no goal. You just create your own experiences, and you can do your own things in other people's like worlds and stuff like that. And I think that's what really, I think that's what drove home the, I guess, format of like what I wanted, I guess. Just being able to like focus on it in the game itself or something.
No, fair. I mean, that there's definitely a lot when it comes to all that, especially, getting over that, I guess, sense of stage fright, especially when first starting out. Um, there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. Which you kind of already you somewhat answered this already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So obviously, you mentioned open mic night, performing there, as well as performing, quietly in certain areas. But obviously as you did it more often, there was a little bit more, somewhat of a confidence boost in that. So as you have been progressing, going from your very, beginnings to, we'll say, when you started doing more like actual events, like first starting out, I mean,
Yeah.
what typically goes through your head like before performing those first performances inside of VRChat?
I still feel a little nervous, before every performance for sure. Did you mean like when I was first starting or just in general?
Yeah.
Like what goes
Yeah.
through my head?
Well, both. We'll do both. We'll say both, just for
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
little comparison.
Definitely. I think. Well, okay. So I think when I first started out, um, I wasn't even too worried about like what people thought, I guess. Um, I just knew like I wanted to do something with this, so I just kind of wanted to get myself out there. Just kind of wanted to make some noise, get some attention. And before each performance, I guess for example, like before I go live or like back when I did, I I still felt a little nerves, despite me still not really caring that much, but I still like, there's always performance anxiety, I guess you can say, and it's a good thing in my opinion, because if you're nervous about something, that means you care about the outcome. Um, if you weren't nervous, then it's like I don't think you'll care if you mess up, but like being nervous about something is definitely like that's kind of just like a human response to wanting to perform your best, I guess. But definitely when I started out, I did have like always had doubts and stuff like that. But and to this day, nowadays, before I like go on a performance, I really know what I'm doing now, I guess you can say. There's a clear path. Like for example, just played at Rebirth's 1 year anniversary. Shout out Minty, shout out Geach, love you guys. And right before the performance, it's like I go over in my head like, okay, what transitions am I doing? What songs am I playing here? How's the energy of the room and stuff like that? Who's doing the lights, who's doing VJing and stuff like that, and like, and then like I do a lot of prep work too for sets and stuff. It's like I know the kind of story I want to tell. I know like what kind of like feeling I want to give off. A lot of my sets do this thing where it's like it starts off happy, I guess you can say happy, and then it goes to a more intense feeling, and then it resolves to happy again, or it starts off really intense and then slowly builds towards like the emotional like part of the set. I love having that feeling of progression in like a DJ set of mine. It really adds to the viewer experience, because it's hard to go so hard 24/7. I love like rhythm can be so hype, but I can't sit down for an hour set of rhythm. I just wouldn't personally enjoy it. But going to like a DJ set live and then like having like that rhythm section is like so hype. I love that shit. But I personally feel like like I want my sets to have a sort of progression to it, so to say. So in terms of like what's going through my head before I go up there to perform these types of things, it's definitely like nowadays I'm a lot more prepared because I've done it so much. But I still feel a little nervous no matter what, which is good, which is normal. And the day that I'm like not nervous about performing somewhere, then it's like I feel like I'm kind of losing, what's the word, the plot, I guess, you know. Yeah, because then it's like at that point I feel like if I'm and when I say nervous, I don't mean like I'm like anxiety filled. I'm not like riddled with fear, you know. It's just like a little feeling, you know. But if I don't feel that anymore, I feel like that means that I don't really care as much of what people will think of it. And it's like that's the whole point, in my opinion. You can express your own passions for someone else, and so to have that connection is that kind of seems to be the common theme here, having a connection with another person. But yeah, no, that's kind of like I guess the gist of what goes through my head before a performance. I think about like, you know, the gist of it. Even actually with acoustic performances, it is slightly different. Because I'm on stream on 3 different platforms. There's a crowd like there for that specifically. Because with DJ sets and stuff, I love the venue atmosphere. And like the cap, you know, 80 people in the room, sometimes more, all focused on like the artists and the DJs. And you're there as a group with the other artists and stuff. But with my acoustic performances and my streams and my sessions, the sole purpose is me, and it's people specifically come there to listen to the experience, the live experience of that. And it is a little different, but I have a awesome staff team to be able to help with that, which is amazing. It's quite a bit of setup to do. I used to do it all on my own, which is possible, but there was like you gotta set up the instance early so it can populate. You have to, you know, set up the stream camera and stuff like that. Make sure your scenes are good in OBS. You know, we have OBS troubles, as you know. And then you got to make sure. So with the restreaming, I go through VRCDN to restream to TikTok and YouTube. So you got to make sure those connections aren't broken. Sometimes TikTok or YouTube updates their API, and it's like you have to work through that. And then Twitch itself is its own thing, having to set up, you know, the overlays there and everything like that. And then actually running the show with song requests, with 3 different chats, with you know, people with supporting financially and stuff like that. So obviously, you know, interact and stuff like that. And then putting on the face on top of it, it's actually quite the process. So it's come a long way, and it definitely didn't just like, this isn't something that you can just do on a whim. You know, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And it's one thing to like, you know, go to just a raw random world and start playing a little bit. And it's another thing to try to create an enjoyable environment that people can come to and have an expectation and have that expectation met, and stuff like that. So it's, with the acoustic sessions, a lot more goes on through my head, but it's alleviated because of the awesome staff I have, and I get to focus on the artistry itself. Like moderation and management and all that. And even the camera stuff nowadays is outsourced to a friend of mine, John Wayne. He runs the cameras for every stream, and we have like dollies in every world, and he has a really cool handheld camera. So John Wayne is awesome. They actually weren't really into any camera work and stuff, but they were inspired by like the work we were doing, and I was like, hey, you have a really good PC, you want to try doing some camera work? And then they really got into the camera work, and now they love it, and they've been at film festivals and stuff in VR, and did some films with people. With It's really cool to see his progression. But I kind of went on a whim there.
Not fair. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot. I mean, you said the best. There is a lot when it comes to what you do. And obviously with VRChat growing as a platform over the years, it's a lot different back then compared to it is now.
Ooh.
You know, there's a lot more accessibility for people who don't know what they're doing. You know, and I mean, I believe you said it in another interview. Back when the VRChat camera looked like a cell phone, back in your vlogger phase, is what you called it.
Oh yeah, my vlog days. Oh geez.
But and it's definitely we're not going to go into the vlogger phase, unless you want to, of course. But I'll say it's you'll just we'll put some clips on the screen, but it's definitely a crazy thing, right? And obviously, like you had said, starting or doing it by yourself versus having a team that assists you makes all the difference, because you don't have to focus on every little aspect, which is nice. It's very, very nice, and it definitely helps a lot when it comes to making things progress, right? But kind of to move on a little bit, because there's a lot we can go into in that regard by itself. But
Oh yeah.
so I guess one of the kind of to go more into your journey in VRChat, because you've done a lot. Obviously, you performed for a lot of major events and communities around VRChat. So out of curiosity, like, what are some of your most memorable moments you've had performing for some of these events and communities?
Oh, definitely. One of my biggest core memories with these performances, specifically when I first got into the DJ scene, definitely Slyfest. I say this a lot. I am incredibly humbled and lucky to have this opportunity with Slyfest. One thing led to another. I bonded with Jazzy over Porter Robinson, and Jazzy introduced me to what was going on with Slyfest, and then they heard about my brother DJ Joe, and they would love to have him perform there because Slyfest. This was back in 2021. Was COVID and everyone was inside, and the VR festivals were popping off. And I never had a DJ booking before. And then they asked if I wanted to have a slot at Slyfest, because they saw my VCAT performances and stuff like that, my acoustic stuff. And I was like, okay. I have a little I've seen my brother do it, so there's that knowledge of existence of DJing, but I was able to I guess debut my DJ arc at Slyfest. And what was even more crazy to me was that they put the effort of making a custom stage for me specifically, at one of the stages there, because I was using my piano and singing, so they wanted to incorporate that. And so I remember Slyfest 2021 had 3 different stages. There was I think it was called the Grotto, this really cool dome room, and then the beach, which was the biggest screen, and then there was this pool place, and I was playing at the pool. But in the middle of the pool, they had a stage toggle for my piano and my laptop and my mic. And so it was the first time I incorporated my acoustic stuff on top of DJ tracks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it was such a cool experience. And that was the first time I saw snowflake emoji spam directed towards me. And I was like, whoa, this is what an incredible visual here. This is so cool. That is my number one, I guess, core memory of all this. My debut set at Slyfest, which is amazing. Other than that, there's been so many. The first time I played at Shelter was an incredibly memorable time. It was also during a dark part of my life. Not dark, I wouldn't say dark, that's the wrong way to put it. Just a very life-changing part of my life. And that it was really cool. It was really, I kind of had this, I guess, not expectation, but I had this mindset in my head. I got to the whole DJ scene, people, it's really exciting and everything. And Shelter kind of felt like a goal, which was, it was whoa, the biggest venue, the coolest one, wow, this is awesome. And so in my head, I was I've always wanted, I want to play there, I want to see what it's like behind those decks, it's a really awesome community. I want to really I want to show them what I'm made of, I guess. And I remember the first time I went to Shelter, I stayed like after everyone left and stuff, and a few friends of mine, we took pictures there like for fun, and like I went behind the decks, like took a selfie, and they got a picture of me, and then like I made a tweet like one day, like I'm always dreaming or something, and then years later, one thing led to another. Two-Tone reached out. I was like, hey, let's finally get you on here. And so like I made this like quote tweet of like that post, and I was like, oh, it's finally happening and stuff like that. I love Shelter. It's my favorite venue, purely because of the aesthetic. I love the story, the environmental storytelling. You spawn in, you walk all the way through there, you see like the world and stuff like that. You pass by the Shelter merch shop, you go down and stuff like that. It's really cool. I've always loved that. But I played there, and I guess like reality kind of set in. It was like I played there, and I felt like I was supposed to feel like, wow, I'm on top of the world, like, oh, this is awesome. But like I just felt like, it was I love all my performances, but it just felt like it was just another one. It was, I kind of had this unhealthy mindset of like expecting like so much from playing there, which was, in my opinion, not good to have. And after it happened, it kind of like, I was like, it really is just a music community with like-minded people, and like that's like the best part of it. Doesn't need to be this like corporate ladder or this like competition between each other. It's I guess I wouldn't say I learned that the hard way, but it was definitely after playing there, and like realizing that it's like it really is all about the music. That really made me love this even more. It was awesome. Like I said, it was such the crowd, the energy in Shelter is always amazing, and the work that goes into it is like the best. But like I said, it's like it kind of helped me realize that like there's people behind it and everything, and it's like gonna take a step back, and it's like it's good. I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of venues out there that a lot of people claim to be like, oh, that's the end goal, and that's a totally relatable thing. It's so weird. It's funny that you mentioned that because I reached out to you last year in regards to the charity event that I run, Squad Forever Fest, which is a music festival and stuff. After that year, after that event in October, I had a bunch of people like, oh, like, this is now a goal of mine to perform on this. I'm like, that's, first of all, y'all are way too kind. Calm yourselves. Like, this was strictly on a whim because like I wanted to do something, because it's also a celebration of like, yay, I'm a anniversary of me being a content creator and solo creator, blah blah blah. But I wanted to do something more. I didn't want to just be like, oh, let's celebrate me. No, get out of here. I'm just a dude. Like, let's do something together as the VRChat community. And doing that and having all that happen, it was an experience. It's a very crazy thing, especially people want to like actively want to do it. I'm like, okay. Like, thank you. It's not that like there's plenty of other amazing places that you can go to trust. It's just a matter of reaching out and seeing what it's what does it take, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shelter is also an amazing place that I know a lot of people have been wanting to like play at and stuff, and it is a very, very well established one in the VRChat scene. Totally fair. And I know you've also performed at like other major events and other communities and stuff too. I know you were on TVRS, the virtual reality show with Fia, way back in the day. I say it's like it was a decade ago. It wasn't that long ago, but it was old enough. VRChat was different back then. With the Naku experience, and you've also performed for conventions like VRCon and VCAT. You mentioned VCAT or Virtual Market, as well as just everywhere around the metaverse. Realistically, when it comes to VRChat, well, as you kind of mentioned earlier, like you have your own group and stuff now. So I guess one of the questions I want to ask, because obviously groups weren't always a thing, right? They started roughly about 2022, if I recall correctly. When groups were initiated, Do you feel like groups and the features of groups have helped you when it comes to outreach for like new listeners?
Yes, 100%. The groups update, in my opinion, was like one of the best things to happen to content creators in this game. It really helps like solidify like a community, especially with like their own custom instances and stuff like that. And later on, more updates came out with like the group events and stuff like that. One of the main things is group moderation, being able to actually have people like help you instead, because back then it was like the instance creator, the world creator, and actual VRChat staff can moderate an instance. It was very limited. And then you had vote kicks. But nowadays, you have actual moderators who can kick and ban, who can warn, who can mute. However, it still feels pretty limited, in my opinion. I do appreciate all the updates, but there are a lot of tools that are like missing for actual moderation, in terms of like really crowded spaces and stuff like that in public worlds. Because I have like a whole tangent to go in on about it. Like I want to make like I'm working on like a list of things that would really help like content creators who run very public and raw like instances like that I do specifically, because like custom emojis can be a big issue sometimes, and like when it gets thrown out, there's no log to like say, oh, who threw that out. Someone could hide in the crowd and like throw out like really bad stuff,
Right.
and there's no way to tell. Maybe you can use a third-party program. I think VRCX has something. I'm not sure if it does or not.
I don't know,
but
that is a good point.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, exactly. There's no innate way to do it. And so like sometimes like I used to perform in Dark RP, and like that is like troll central. Like that is like unfiltered,
right?
All hands free. So I'm really stoic. It's like I'm used to it. It's them having fun. It's like no harm done. But you definitely do want to curate a certain experience. So like sometimes people like would throw tomatoes. Obviously they're just trolling, having fun and stuff like that. But they can do it, play space under the ground and throw it underneath somebody, and oh, did you throw that? Or do it to the roof, or like have
right.
Exactly. So there's a lot of lacking moderation with things like that. And then especially people, whenever they troll, it's very common for them to like increase their movement speed and like just go move really fast around the area. And so good luck trying to click them through all the other bubbles. So you have to go to your social menu, find them in there, click on each thing, and then it takes extra time. It takes away from the experience and stuff like that. So the updates are amazing, and it's all steps in the right direction. But moderation is still very lacking. Like when you kick someone, they're forced to be kicked for an hour. There's no way to change that. Which, if I wanted someone not to come back, it would be a ban. So I don't know why kicks have that specific hour cooldown. Because I don't know. I'm definitely working on a little post to send like, hey, here are some tips and tricks from someone who is actively in these public world instances and doing events here. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I do love the updates, though. I will say that the groups update has been amazing.
No, absolutely, and realistically, like, and I've said this with not on the podcast, but with other creators as well. There's a lot when it comes to some of the. I'm actually very excited. They announced that they were doing a bunch of like trust and safety and moderation updates for the VRChat platform itself. Tupper announced that on one of the dev blogs earlier this year, late last year. And it was around, he said Q1, Q2 of 2026 is when that's going to be the focus. And very much so, I kind of hope stuff like that is addressed. Because you're not the first person. I guarantee you won't be the last person when it comes to some of these, like the kick timer and, stuff like that. There's a lot of people who agree with those things, myself included. And it's definitely a lot. Kind of to move on though. Like there's still a lot I want to talk about. When it comes to things. So obviously, you had mentioned the album itself. But maybe for the people that may not know, from roughly 2022 to 2024, you ran your own music festival, inspired by Porter Robinson's album, Nurture. and you made the event Nurtured. What was like the mindset, when creating Nurtured?
Yeah, so it was just supposed to be a group of friends celebrating the release of Porter Robinson's album Nurture. But I was just like, I really love the album, and I want to let's have a listening party on April. Oh, when did it come out? 22nd, sometime in April. I think it was April 20th or something like that. And I invited a few friends to hey, let's just go to a nature world and listen. We love this album. And then we kind of started talking. It's like, hey, what if we made a world for it? I think it'd be cool to have a nurture-themed world. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then another friend overheard, and it's like, hey, I want to come along. I want to hear. I want to listen to it. I love Porter Robinson. And then it's like, there's a lot of people here who actually love Porter Robinson and how he has inspired people in this game. And so then, I was like, you know what? We have quite a few people here. What if we had a few fun little sets? Let's do some Porter Robinson inspired DJ sets here and stuff like that. And then more and more people just started to kind of hear about it through word of mouth. And then people were like, oh, I want to play I love Porter. I want to show how he inspired me. And so it eventually just kind of spread to this thing okay, we have a lot of people here who want to play, so we might as well make it a fun little venue. And then there were actually a little bit too much people for the lineup, so then I cut it down to 30-minute sets, and then it was 16 hours of just DJs for a whole day. And I was like, okay, so this is a real thing. Let's make a world here for real and make some posters and stuff. And so we did the whole process, and then the day happened and people showed up on doors opening, which was really cool. I was like, whoa, this is my first real event. And so it was a success. It's very clear that Porter has inspired a lot of people here, and being able to connect with so many like-minded people in an event like that was such an amazing experience.
Hello, everyone. Just want to pause the episode right here. I want to thank you all so much for watching or listening, depending on what platform you're on. If you're interested in the podcast or maybe some of my other content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It does help me out a lot. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026 on YouTube, so it would mean a lot if you did help me reach that goal. Of course, you can always check out some of my other content, like the performances from Squad Fest or some of my gameplay stuff. Feel free to check all that out as well. But thank you so much for watching. Let's get back into the episode. Woo!
I remember watching the Secret Sky live stream and seeing his Secret Sky Nurture live performance was so awesome. I did my own version of it with my piano, with MIDI. I kind of figured out his voice modulation thing. It was really cool. And that was awesome. It was I'm surprised we got Laxity came on to play a set there, which is really cool. And also, of course, so many friends worked on it and stuff like that. And so Nurtured ended, and people were like, all right, so it's happening again next year, right? And so there was an expectation for Nurtured 2, which is, I'm sure you've heard before. Nurtured 2 is, in my opinion, the best Nurtured out there. It was awesome. The world was created by me this time, and then a lot of help with the same coders and stuff like that. This is where I really started to work with Velocity. I met him first through Slyfest. He did lights there and stuff, and he does lights in IRL in Australia, which is really cool. But that was the first time I started to work hand in hand with him with lighting and stuff. A lot of other people on the team too. But Nurture 2, I wanted to really be a little ambitious. I wanted to improve from the first one. And in my mind, I was like, there has to be something different each Nurture. There needs to be something that makes it stand out from the last one. I can't just run the same thing. And so this is one of the first few times of a venue of this size actually had dynamic staging. So Nurture 2 was 2 days because Nurtured 1 was 1 day. So I thought it'd be funny to Nurture 2 be a 2-day festival. And so we had these headliner slots where they had their own custom stage, and that we wanted it to be seamless and don't have to change the world for it. Because hold on, let me reverse a little bit. Back in Nurtured 1, we had this little day-night cycle thing, which was really cool. And it was inspired by Slyfest because Slyfest had a day version of the world, and then at a certain point in the venue, they dropped a portal to the night version of the world. But I was like, what if we just did it in the same instance? What if it was seamless? And so that was really cool to do in Nurtured 1. So in Nurtured 2 had the same thing, but it was more seamless because in Nurtured 1, it was a toggle that swapped slowly to night. In Nurtured 2, it was a variable that progressed through the entire venue. And so it slowly became night. It started morning, started sunset, and then it was such a cool experience, and it really stuck with people. But Nurtured 2 was like the best one. It was so cool with like the custom stages with the headliners. Like specifically, Ghost Data had his custom like ice cathedral and stuff like that come up in the background, and then like a crystal skull came from the sky, hit the big tree, and the leaves like fell everywhere. It was a really cool experience. And then Thrill had their set there too, and I made reference to like they were recently running Schism, their venue, and so you saw like the Schism logo come in the background, but in like a 3D model form, and like form like a portal, and like it was a really cool thing to really work on. Just having those like dynamic stages was kind of like, I haven't seen a whole lot of venues do it, so it really helped. Nurtured 2 stuck out, really awesome. And then after day 1 of Nurtured 2, like the second day, we edited the map a little bit. The grass started growing even higher. The Portaro like really blew up in size and stuff like that, and it was really cool. But yeah, Nurtured 3 was the worst one. Got too ambitious. Honestly got a little bit corporate-y too. You grow to a certain point, you have to really balance your ego and like, the things you're doing. Nurture 3 was the biggest one and the worst one. Too ambitious. This time around, I was like, every single DJ custom stages. It was a bit too much. I only got to about 40 stages, and then the rest of them were very subpar, and some of them didn't even have anything. Oh man! And then the worst part was the inconsistency of the performance of the world. We had to do so many mid-event updates, so it caused a lot of desync. On top of all of this, we were selling PrioQ. Sorry, I say we. I made the decision to sell PrioQ, which in itself is a conversation, but with the world not performing as advertised and not being what it is, you're paying for an incomplete experience. So that I got a lot of fair criticism for all of that. So that was rough. We learned a lot. I learned a lot, and we definitely improved from Nurture 3. I can go on hours about the whole thing, but moving on from it, Nurture 3 finale was kind of like the improvement, was kind of like the, hey, sorry about that, here's a real experience. And so worked primarily with Velocity. Velocity honestly carried Nurture 3 finale. Velocity stayed up like over 24 hours working on things, and I did my best too. But we stuck with the every stage has its own detail, and we followed through with it. We did it. Velocity worked with so many other talents to optimize the world and everything, and it was really good experience. Velocity really made it all possible, honestly. And of course, there were other people in the team. JK Sessions running the stream for it and stuff like that. Piranha kind of coming on as manager when I was doing a lot. I was kind of just offsetting tasks to her, and she just kind of fell into the role. And then, of course, we had the teams. We had media team. We had people actually working on my outfits. Minty had one of those Porter specific outfits, so she did amazing work with that. Delicious Salad made the landscape for the world and stuff like that. Aros doing UI and stuff like that. There's with things of this size, there is always a team that is involved, and it wouldn't be possible to do it alone, so to say. So the Nurtured series is like my baby. It's like, if you ask me for like an achievement I'm proud of, I definitely talk about Nurtured. Being able to manage and run a festival like that is really cool and really a lot of the management and like I guess techniques there carry over into other things in life, especially with like my acoustic sessions or even with me going to IRL venues and just kind of seeing the process and like understanding like what's going on here. With my brother, he does like cons and like he DJs at like IRL stuff. Actually, this weekend in Orlando, I'm gonna go see him again. He's playing at the Conduit, Legend of Zelda themed venue. Well, not the venue itself, but the event itself is Legend of Zelda themed. And actually, I did a little bit of visual work for him, so it's going to be really cool to see in real life. But I digress. Nurtured, thank you everyone for watching this. I know most of you probably know about Nurtured and have been there. I still have people come up to me and say like, "Hey, but my experience at Nurtured was awesome. When's are you doing it again or something like that?" And I'm just like, maybe we'll see. Might be related to the thing we've been working on now. We'll see if there's a tour stop there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's a lot, and it takes a lot of work. It does. And a lot of people don't see that side. They just see it as, oh, a cool event. They don't see the back end. And as somebody who can relate, I get it from a PJKT and Squad Forever Fest perspective. I get it, and it is backbreaking work, especially when doing a lot of it by yourself. And then eventually having a team to work with it. It's a lot of work. So very, very much from one to another, very much kudos. Very much.
Oh man. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Well, speaking of 2024, so you actually had won the VRChat Community Award for Best Music Artist. And you're actually a finalist nominee for this year for 2025. So out of curiosity, what is that like? What does that feel like? Like when you won the 2024 one and then being nominated again for 2025?
Oh my goodness. So the 2024 one, it was a long time since I had that feeling. So when we got to that section, I kind of I felt it in my stomach, like the anticipation, and it's kind of rare to have that feeling nowadays, but like being able to being so a part of this community and being nominated by the people for an award for this community, it was like whoa, like that's awesome. Wow. And so whoa. Winning the 2024 VRCA awards. Sorry, I just said VRCA awards. The VRCA.
A lot of people gratified.
It was awesome, and Puck did an amazing job with that production. Both of us doing production like this. Puck also running that whole thing, and then getting the nominees, running the show, and everything. It's awesome stuff there, Puck. This time around, VRCA 2025, I saw my name up there, and I was like, awesome. That's really awesome. It shows that the community still really loves the things I do. Since they're all voted by the people. But I'm not doing as much pushing for it this time around, simply because I won it last year, and there are two very talented other individuals there as well, which are amazing. Specifically, Starheart. It's so awesome to see Starheart, seeing her nominated again. She always tells me that her big break or start was through me. I remember seeing her work on Twitter. Jaden Reyes, awesome cinematographer, by the way. I think it was one of my tweets where I was like, "Hey, tell me about musicians you like, or who other musicians do you listen to?" And Jaden put Starheart, added Starheart in that post. And so I checked it out, and her stuff was really good. She does the same thing as me. She plays piano. She sings. She even does her own music production. And I was like, this is untapped talent. This person, she's really good. Awesome voice, really good theory going on. She plays really well. And so for it wasn't the Naku experience. It was a different show. I'm pretty sure it all. Oh man, it was one of my shows at TVRS because I've been there. I've been there a handful of times. I had a section in that specific show where I got artists to come on, and I had like a bunch of friends of mine, like Asian Styles, Camp Leroy, and Starheart. I got Starheart to go there. Tone was there too. Shout out Tone. But Starheart, that was Starheart's, like one of Starheart's first like venue performances, and excuse me, to see how where Starheart has gone now is amazing. She really like she started doing more music stuff. She started streaming more. Not to say that I'm the reason for all of that, but she always tells me how grateful she is that I got her to play at Via's show at that time and helped inspire her to keep going and stuff like that. And so to see her nominated twice now for this award is really awesome. And so I'm really hoping, Starheart wins this, then that would be really cool, honestly. That would be sick.
I will say this year the VRCAs have never been tighter in my personal opinion. For a lot of the categories. I mean, realistically, because I'm friends with all three of you, and it's such a like that is the hardest decision to ever make. And I'm not revealing who I'm voting for. I'm just saying I'm not, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, because I love them all very much. But music artist, and there's a few categories that I was like, there's too many people that I would vote for, and I'm like, shit, like music category was stacked. I mean, that one hurt my soul to vote for, because like I was like, can I just vote for like at least 5 of them, please? Because that would make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness.
Because I had both Starheart and When Snakes Sing both at Squad Forever Fest, and both of them are super kind individuals, at least with me. But you know, and granted, I didn't really interact with you much, but I still knew what you were capable of and what you have done for the community. So like it was one of those, like, I know a lot about all of these people, and they all deserve it. Like, can I just give them all the trophy, please?
Yeah. Oh man.
And even in the first round, I mean, there was like Kit Kat Sings, and all of these amazing people. Like the list goes on and on, but it was tough. It was a tough choice.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that.
Yeah, this time around, I like whenever I like told people about it, I always made sure to be like, go vote for your favorite. I tried to make sure, like, I didn't want to say vote for me or anything like that, because like I said, winning it last year was so amazing, and so it's awesome to show recognition to other artists in this community. But yeah, it's a hard decision. Oh man.
No, absolutely. And to be fair, like, even myself, I was not expecting to get on the finalist ballot. Like, that one came as a shock to me. And I've said this before, but like, because with this year's a little bit different. You submitted stuff for potential of being nominated, but the one that I didn't was Unsung Hero. And to this day, I still don't know how I made the 10. I don't know how I made the first round or the second round. Because yes, I do a lot of work behind the scenes with a lot of communities and stuff, but like I don't expect that type of stuff. I do it because I'm passionate about what I do. So yeah. I guess to receive that recognition, it kind of starstruck me a little bit in a wholesome way, because there were some amazing people in that first nominee lineup, and I was like, how the hell did I make this list? And then when I made the 3, I'm like, how did I make this list? Like, it was like I advertised a little bit, but I was like, realistically, go vote for the people that you believe made an impact. And sure enough, like I still don't know how I don't know how I got in for short film with Portal Media, because I was the main voice actor for that film, and I was like, dude, this was trash. like Well, because it was a submission for the Film Jam, and I love my folks over at Portal Media, but we were going up some of the heaviest competition for short film and documentaries, tomato. But it like getting that in the top 3 was dumbfounding to me. Like I didn't think we were gonna make the 10, like let alone the 3. Like I've actually watched all those films, and all of them phenomenal. Like there were some amazing ones, and there's some amazing filmmakers out there. Which I know you did one of the a song of one of the soundtracks for
Ulterior Motives.
Thank you. I was like, I had it on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I mean that's an amazing film too. And it words cannot describe how like crazy people are when it comes to the creative flow in VRChat, whether it's music performances, filmmaking. I mean, that's one of the very reasons why I make this podcast, is because I love showing people off and what like this platform has to offer. It doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, like you set your mind to something and you do it, people are gonna want to know more. And totally not because I'm trying to fight the trolling and expose content that's on the YouTube algorithm, but that's a side quest. But it's really nice, and I love hearing the stories about how people started and grew when it comes to that. Funny enough, I want to get back into topic because there's still some things I want to ask, and I don't want to take too much of your time because I know we've gone a little bit over time. Compared to so speaking of VRChat and putting things out, you've also created some worlds as well, including your most recent one, which is actually dedicated to Phoebe for Valentine's Day.
Oh shit, yeah.
So I gotta ask, what made you want to create a world, or worlds in general, I should say?
It definitely strays all the way back to the Doom modding days of my life. Back then, the Doom builder, that world creator was really limiting, but the workarounds were so cool. But just being able to create something and then have people go into it is such an amazing feeling. Mainly world building came from me trying to up my performances. I started out just making a room because it's like good practice. And eventually, the worlds I actually make, most of them are for performances, and sometimes they're a little sentimental. Which, hey, you found that world.
Funny enough, I found that world last night as I was researching. I was like, I wonder what worlds he has under his belt, and I saw that. I was like, oh, I gotta go check this out. And it was so me and Chopao, who are good homies, he joined off of me as I was looking around, and he just recently got into a relationship. He's like, this is freaking adorable. I'm like, I know, it's great.
Oh.
It was a very cute like memory world of the two of you, and I was like, that's the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. No, I didn't expect it to so she wanted to make her home world, so then I published it to community labs, and so I guess I got out of labs. That's cool. That's sweet. I really got into world building because I've always liked it. Actually, I wanted to do architecture in high school, but I just never got in. So here's my outlet for that, I guess. But a lot of my worlds are performance related. Like I made for VRCon, I think the second VRCon, I made a world for that, my specific performance, which is cool. Yeah. And then, I made like a world I was taking a little break, and so I wanted to have a little performance world, and then it had like a day and night version. And then obviously nurtured. And then I'm thinking of all the worlds I've uploaded. I had there was the Hidden Sky world, which was really awesome. Right now it's in like after form, but that's when I really learned how to use light volumes, and it was really cool because we had like a screen in a tent, and it was a really dark area, And then the light shined out from the tent, and it looked really cool and stuff like that. And I think I had like this one other world called Kalikasen that is nature in Tagalog. That was for a pop-up, which then I just kind of kept the world, and it's like a small little square with grass and a deck. It's very simple. And then I think that's it for the performance worlds. Pretty sure. Yeah. So no, world building is fun. I love it. It's cool.
Not fair. Well, that's awesome. And once again, it's super adorable when it comes to the Valentine's world. I because I was gonna look at some of the nurtured worlds, and I was like, and I noticed that you had it newly uploaded. I was like, let me look at this, and and sure enough, like, yeah, all the little plushies everywhere, and all the pictures hanging from the ceiling. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
that was cool. There was one that I was very interested in where you found that portal, because there was a portal that you took that was very interesting, questionable.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was a funny memory. We like saw that thumbnail and we were like, "What the hell?" But it was just like a language character, and we're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Me and Chopin were laughing about it, and I was like, "That's surely that's a language character of some sort," and he's like, "Probably, but that's still funny." I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh jeez,
it's so funny. I wasn't gonna ask this because it's more of a joke question, and Chopin was like, "You should totally ask him this and tell him it was for me." I was like, "We'll see," but I'm gonna ask it anyway because he because we were on the topic of it. So this is, hey Sho, if you're watching this, congrats, you got me to ask it. But this is from Chopin. He says, end quote, "What's up, my Filipino brother?"
It's just funny, super puting mo. Oh shit! What's up, bro? How's it going? Oh, Chopin was awesome. Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god!
Congrats, Joe. You got me to ask
it. No, Chopin's worlds are amazing. Honestly, I totally get it. I know they mentioned somewhere that they're never going to put a video player in their worlds, but if there was one in one of your worlds, I would love to do an acoustic session there. Just that's the only criteria that's missing for us. But I totally get it. Your worlds are awesome, though. Keep at it, Chopin.
I'm sending this to you directly. I hope you realize that, Show, before the episode even goes live.
Oh shit! Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. So really quick, you actually might be my longest episode, but I still have some questions. So I'm gonna wrap it. I'm gonna call this the Music Journey Rapid Fire.
Okay.
So I mean, you can go as long as you want. I'm just gonna just rapid fire the questions, and you just answer however you want.
Yeah. All right.
So you've been releasing music since 2018. So in your personal opinion, I kind of asked this already, but which of your songs mostly resonates you to this day?
I would normally say An Update to You. But I will choose a different song because I said that in like countless other interviews. So right now, If I Had Time, that song, I love that song. That is the obvious Porter song of the latest album. But a funny story about it, it was actually inspired from a clip of Porter Robinson, which I can send to you later if you want to use the clip, where he was just doing a piano stream. Porter Robinson was just doing a piano stream, and he just started making up a song on the spot at the end of the stream. And I really loved the sound of it, the chord structure. His chord structure work is always amazing. And so I decided I'm going to make a song out of this little snippet that he did, because he was just kind of messing with the piano. And so I did it, and it's really cool. The song is essentially about like me feeling like I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do. It's like basically the repeating lyric there is like, if I had time, I would do this. If I had time, I would do that. Because I don't have time, I can't do this. And it's like, oh, I don't know. And then towards the end of the song, it's kind of like me realizing like whatever I spend my time on is enough. It's like I'm doing the things that I need to do for myself. And if I just can't get to something, it'll come if it needs to come or something like that. So I like that song a lot. It does resonate with me right now with all the things that are going on with the acoustic sessions, with the whole thing growing so much, and with the tour coming up. So that's, yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Semi-rapid.
No, this is fine. I don't want you to feel rushed. I'm just, I don't want to, because I know you usually have a busy schedule, so I don't want to take up too much of your time.
That's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, during your career, which, like I said, you started since 2018. Have you ever experienced like writer's block or burnout, and how did you build yourself back up from it?
Writer's block, 100%. It's really hard for me to just write and release a song. I can't just do that. It needs to. Almost all of my songs come from a specific experience or something that happened in my life. And when I get into like the zone of that, like it comes out so easily, but it doesn't. I can't just do it. It has to just come. It's just the inspiration just needs to arrive. Let me word that better.
Yeah.
It's
as long as
that is definitely coming. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, no, I definitely, my releases are definitely few and far in between. It was like 2018 debut song, Stage Struck, most popular one. And then I think the EP came out in 2020, something like that. I did have like a release somewhere in there in 2019. But then it's like kind of like separated by like a year almost. And then a small little EP came out with 2 songs. And then a really long break, and then the album came out. So it's definitely, I wish I can just release more. I might make a song about that. Just like shutting up and writing. Okay, I'm cooking. Anyways.
In the Noved Note studio. Anyway, no, but so kind of to go on that, right? And so obviously, in your personal opinion, how has music been an emotional outlet for you?
It definitely lets me express certain things that I normally wouldn't, I guess. Like on social media and like on public areas, you kind of keep a face. You don't want to emotionally, like, for lack of a better word, you don't want to like trauma dump to your entire community. That's like, like, hey, relax. But I can definitely, like, for example, my song Happiness describes a part of my life that I was struggling in with my past relationship of mine. And instead of like ranting about it or something like that, I kind of like pour those emotions into a song, so to say. And so that's definitely a big emotional outlet for me, my music, in that sort of way.
No, very valid. I don't want to change it too much, but one of the best quotes that I can quote was actually from one of my 2 barbershop courses director, Dr. Jim Henry, who actually recently retired from his director position like this year. But one of the quotes I was always sticking by me, and this still lives with me to this day. Every performance you have, you're going to have 3 types of people. Technically it's 2, but third one's kind of obvious. So, the first one, which is the obvious one, it's going to be the people, your listener base, right? The second type of person is somebody who's going to be hearing you for the first time. And then the third type of person is somebody who is going to be hearing you for the last time. Whether, for whatever the case may be, whether it be health reasons, old age, whatever the case may be. And granted, as a acapella barbershop singer, and my age audience is very vast, and it's no different with what you do as well, that hits me. It hits me in a way that, the more you think about it, the more philosophical it gets. Because you never know. Life is a very mysterious thing, right? And, to give somebody a last performance without even realizing it, and then you hear, oh, well, so-and-so passed away, and they're like, oh, dang. Like, they were just at my performance, blah, 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 whenever. you know, it's a powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. And especially as a performer, I feel like you might be able to, take that to some extent. Not to get philosophical near the end, I promise, but
no, it's okay. No, that's quite the quote.
Yeah, and I've held that ever since I had sang with the Ambassadors of Harmony. I've held that quote since. And I do it in my directing of my chorus and everything I do, and it's a crazy thing. But to get back into the questions, because you've done a lot of different types of performances, as we've talked about here on the podcast. So from as a pianist to a vocalist to a DJ, which one took the most dedication to practice?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing that really helped to practice a lot was kind of like the performance aspect itself, kind of like being in front of the crowd and kind of knowing how to hold yourself, I guess. Obviously, there's a lot of techniques to go with piano playing and singing and DJing, but to kind of throw a little curveball out of those choices, I think just the act of performing itself needs a lot of practice, because you can go to a performance and like really enjoy it, but not like the energy of the person doing it, so to say. You could say like, oh, they're too stiff. They're like up there just staying still or something, or when they're done playing, they don't really interact or something like that, or just the way you present yourself is an act of itself. And I think you can't really teach that. That just needs to come with experience. That just needs to that just needs to stay where it is. No, just like being stage presence, that is in itself its own act. So being able to practice that and like really work on that was probably one of the hardest things, because there is no playbook for that. There is no, well, I mean, I guess technically you can say you can learn about social tendencies and confident speaking and public speeches, stuff like that. But they're doing it itself isn't as mechanical as, so to say, learning key signatures, learning chords, or figuring out how to transpose music, or learning transition techniques for DJing, like knowing when to fade, like 16 bar, 32 bar, like knowing like genres of music, what to go to, what works with what, like how can you transition from house to D&B and stuff like that. It's like there are specific like goals with that, but when it comes to stage presence and how you hold yourself, that is like you play off the crowd you're playing to, and it depends on the venue, and it depends on like so yeah, just practicing that has been has been really important, I guess.
No, for sure. Honestly, valid answer. I can't even argue. That's a valid answer. So two more questions, and then we'll wrap things up here. So as of February 9th, you officially have 412 songs on your song request list. And yes, I counted every freaking bullet point.
Even the Christmas ones?
I did. They're at the bottom of the screen, and I was like, wait a minute. I did. Because the original was 401, and then I saw the Christmas. I was like, wait a minute, there's 11 here. So out of curiosity, how long does it take you to learn a new song and add it to the list?
So it's variable, because I have this, I guess it's kind of like a mental block, where if I absolutely fuck with a song, if I love the song so much, I could learn it within a couple days. It'd be really quick. Just be like, oh, here are the chords, here are the lyrics, and then boom. If it's like if it's not too complicated, it's not hard at all. But if I don't really care for the song, or if I don't like absolutely fall in love with it, it's a little harder for me to do it. It's just like, I just kind of, lack of a better term, I just kind of get bored, I guess. It's like, oh, this song's all right. This sounds cool. And I start to play it, and then I'm just like, And I know, obviously, learning like the top 50 songs and learning the songs that people request would be really good for I guess, user retention and marketing. But I just don't want to, I guess. I love to learn the songs that I want to do and play the songs that I want to play. And when my entire song list consists of all those kinds of songs, then it's like I can really put my passion with all the requests I take. Every now and then a really old one gets requested and I kind of relearn it on the spot, and it's all right. But when it comes to like learning a brand new song, it can be really easy or it can be really hard. A technique I use a lot is to just like, I keep listening to the song and it just kind of just like gets stuck in there and then it just kind of comes out. So it's like, yay. But like I said, if I don't like really love the song, it's harder for me to learn it.
For sure. No, and it very, very, very true when it comes to that. And I feel like that goes with any type of performer, especially the passion side of it, right? You the more you're passionate about it, the more you want to learn, the more you want to make it happen. Very, very true. I can't argue with that answer because it's very true.
Yeah.
So this is actually a question from a friend of mine who's seen a couple of your instances in streams. So when you stream your performances in your acoustic sessions, do you normally play things off of memory, or do you have sheet music or something similar?
The majority of them are from chord sheets. It's a lot of songs. Some of them I do have memorized. But even with my own music, I look up my own lyrics sometimes. But it is mostly improvisational because like I use Ultimate Guitar a lot, and so you see the chords there on top of the lyrics. So I know this chord happens here, and I just kind of play whatever. I play those chords, and then I like add fills and like add different chords. And sometimes I have a little bit of music theory knowledge where I can change the chords up a bit. It really elevates the performance itself. So yeah, no. To answer that question directly, it is mainly chord sheets. Rarely do I use actual piano music. I can read it, but my piano reading isn't very good. I still have to use the mnemonics. I still go like every like what was it? Like great big ducks fly away, or like
every
good girl does fine.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Wait! Oh, I got it wrong. Hey. Wow! Why did I say that? Where's my mind right now? No, but like FAC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The mnemonics.
FACE. Yeah. All that
Yeah.
Yeah, every good girl.
Why did I say that? Wait a minute. That's the wrong kind of performance. Shit.
That's getting clipped out of context. Anyway, my lord. There's always one clip that's going to be taken out of context, and that was it right there.
Oh, that's fire.
little bonus thing for the people that watch this far into the episode.
Definitely a bonus thing for sure. Yeah.
So I know I said that was the last question, but obviously one of the questions that is lingering, because you did mention it a few times now, but with 2026 you are doing the virtual tour. So what exactly is the virtual tour for the people that may not know?
All right. So as with Nurtured, we'd love to really be ambitious with the things that like the official Naku events do. And so this time around, it kind of still plays on like the dynamic custom stages. However, we're doing like a virtual tour. Since I have an album out now, since I have a lot of original songs in my belt, I can finally move away from the Porter Robinson stuff and do my own IP, along with the help of our amazing main team. We have me as director and artist, of course, Velocity, our technical director, JK Sessions running back-end broadcasting and stuff like that, and Piranha running management for the rest of the team. And then the team itself expands to, there's a lot in it. There's media, there's camera operations, there's security for, instance moderation. We have art and dev for, visual work and stuff like that. We have wardrobe team for my custom outfits for the whole thing itself. Obviously, I mentioned media. Media has its own media leader to run pictures and videos and stuff like that. And then we have advertising for when things really come around and stuff like that. And so, hello. And so, in the future, we also have 2 extra categories with partners and openers. So let me tell you what the whole thing is about. Naku Virtual Tour. The main purpose of it is to bring a real tour feeling into VRChat. So people have done tours before, but it mainly consisted of like performing at multiple venues. with a theme. But I never felt like there was like a coherent aesthetic between all of those performances. I will say, Onomi, sorry, I said that wrong. Onumi, she did this tentacle tour back then, and she had this really cool like thing with her avatar where her tentacles would be there and stuff, which was really cool. But for the virtual tour, we are going to be traveling through different venues, of course, but we are going to be working with each world creator, each venue owner, to implement our custom stage into that tour stop. And so people will have the consistent performance with like each tour stop they go to. But we will also have like openers. So like we have the venue owner open for us and stuff like that to really bring in the community as well. But one of the biggest selling points of this, in my opinion, which will be really cool, is that we're also going to be bringing it into public worlds, trending worlds. For example, trying to work with like Spooky or Lieutenant Shadow, having our custom stage implemented in the Black Hat or Furry Hideout, stuff like that. And the custom stage itself basically matches my entire play space. So I'll be walking around the whole thing, doing my whole thing, custom DMX lighting and stuff like that. Quest compatible. It's going to be crazy. And then towards the end of the main act, there is a special thing which I won't go into. You'll have to attend a tour stop to see it. But it's been in the work ever since Nurture 3 finale ended. We've been working on it for a full over a year, and it's coming together. It's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited for that. There's so much like that goes into it, because with tours IRL, it happens over the span of like several months. You have like the tour stops on like the poster and like specific dates and stuff like that. Yeah. And the biggest part of this all is that since we're working with Velocity, he does touring in real life in Australia, and so we have that grounding experience to really figure out how to show like a real tour feeling. Like you show up to the venue, you wait in line, there's a ticketing stand, there's like setup going on, and the openers happen, and then there's intermission, and then the whole thing starts, and it's like we really want to try to give a tour feeling of this for a VR user.
No, fair. I mean, yeah, that's amazing to say the least, and I'm definitely excited to see what you guys come up with on that regard. I know you've been going to a bunch of worlds as of recently when it comes to your acoustic sessions, but to see stuff like that, I'm definitely interested and excited to see. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Which will bring up another topic, but that's for off camera. We'll talk about that off camera. But yeah, man, that's what's up. I mean, dude. This has been a huge honor to have you on the pod. I think you've officially. I'd have to double check when off camera, but I'm pretty sure you just took my longest episode to date. So congratulations.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, no, there's just so much. A lot goes on in my life, and I'm really happy that I have this opportunity to just be able to perform here. And thank you for having me as well. It's awesome. I love doing these interviews. I've done quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it like I said, it was a huge honor. It was great. I to be fair, when I popped into your acoustic session, and you had mentioned that you would watch Slade's episode and everything, I was like, you know what? Let me finally bite the bullet and just ask, like, because it's been on hiatus because I'm working with Project Community and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man, I really need to get back into doing the podcast. Like, this is still the road to 100. So I'm trying to get like the best storytells I can get from 90 to 100. And I mean, you fit the bill completely. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet. Let's ask. And you're like, yeah, just DM me or DM my manager. I'm like, you got it. So thank you for watching the podcast. I very much appreciate it. It means a lot.
Of course. Yeah, no. Slade's an old friend. Actually, we like live in the same state, and every now and then we see each other. And I don't know, I love just like being a photographer in this game is kind of an unsung hero in itself. Being able to document the experiences and the community itself. Slade is awesome. 100%.
Yeah, and I know Jazzy on her episode also mentioned you as well, and I'm like, maybe it's time. so
oh, Jazzy.
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely got a lot of good friends on here, and it definitely shows, for sure. But yeah, thank you again so much. Before we do let things off, I do want to give you a chance to tell the people where they can find you, any links you want in the description, stuff like that. Essentially, this is the Naku plug. It's not the Naku experience, but
Awesome.
it's the Naku plug.
Hey, the Naku plug.
If you want to tell them where they can find you, floor is yours. Take it away.
Hey. So this floor is ceramic carpet. No, sorry, the floor is mine. So, all right. Thank you again for listening, and thank you for watching Noved's podcast. I'm _Naku, and you can find my stuff at imnaku.com. My main platform is Twitch, and you can find all my music on any music platform like iTunes, Spotify. I keep saying iTunes. It's Apple Music. Well, my boomer is showing. Oh shit, yeah. Any music platform. But yeah, imnaku.com. Has a links page. You can find all my stuff there. I have a Twitter. I have Blue Sky. I mainly use Blue Sky, but I have a Discord server, of course. A vanity link is Naku, so discord.gg/Naku. But yeah, I'm Naku.com. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And of course, make sure to follow all the links. They will be down in the description down below. Yeah. Dude, I'm so hyped. My poor future self is gonna be like, dude, you did a 2-hour episode. What the hell? Worth it. Worth it. It was worth it.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, well, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside the ballpark, that has been it for episode 92 of the Noved Notes podcast. I want to thank you all so much for watching and listening this far. If you made it through the entire almost 2 hours, comment down below, what is your favorite song performed by Naku? There's your question. Comment down below your favorite performance from Naku. It could be acoustic session, it could be DJ performance, whatever the case. Just comment down below your favorite performance. We'll see. We'll see what you guys. We'll see how many of you watch till the end of this episode to see what it is. But thank you all so much for watching, listening. And if you are enjoying the podcast or maybe some of my other content, feel free to hit that subscribe button or like button or follow button, depending on which of the 10 platforms you're on. It does mean a lot.
So many.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, did I finally nail the intro without fail this time? That's crazy. What the hell? I think I got my groove back finally.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, I want to thank you all one last time for watching and listening, depending on what platform you're on. And of course, thank you, Naku, for coming on. This has been an absolute pleasure and a blast.
Of course. Yeah, it was fun for me too.
Yeah. And of course, I will see you in the next episode. Take care and peace.
See ya. You know how at the end they always like start to fade out and then like we talk, you know? And... Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Noved.